Alun Kyte, infamously known as the Midlands Ripper, is one of Britain's most notorious serial killers and sexual predators. His crimes, spanning the late 1980s to the 1990s, include the brutal murders of two sex workers, a series of violent sexual assaults, and a horrifying campaign of abuse against a young boy. Kyte's story is a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity and the long-lasting trauma inflicted on his victims. In this video delves into the details of his crimes, his eventual conviction, and the impact of his actions on those whose lives he destroyed. Early life and criminal beginnings. Alun Kyte was born on July 7, 1964, in Titonsor, Stoke-on-Trent, England. Described as a sickly child who suffered from severe asthma, Kyte was doted on by his family. However, his early life gave little indication of the monster he would become. After leaving school, he worked odd jobs before becoming a lorry driver, a profession that allowed him to travel extensively across Britain. This itinerant lifestyle would later facilitate his crimes, as he used his mobility to scout for victims and evade detection. Kyte's criminal tendencies began to surface in the late 1980s. He was convicted of petty crimes such as theft, deception, and making off without payment. In one instance, he stole over £700 from his father's bank account to feed his gambling addiction. Despite these early brushes with the law, Kyte managed to avoid serious scrutiny, and his violent tendencies remained hidden. The murders of Samo Paul and Tracy Turner. Kyte's most heinous crimes were the murders of two sex workers, Samo Paul and Tracy Turner, in 1993 and 1994 respectively. These killings earned him the moniker Midlands Ripper and marked him as a dangerous predator. The murder of Samo Paul. In December 1993, Kyte picked up 20-year-old Samo Paul from Birmingham's Balsall Heath red light district. Paul, a single mother, was reported missing on December 4th. Her partially clothed body was discovered on December 31st in a water-filled ditch near Swinford, Leicestershire, approximately 38 miles from where she was last seen. The remote location made it difficult for investigators to gather evidence, and initial suspicions fell on Paul's boyfriend. However, a key witness came forward, describing a man in a brown Ford Sierra driving through the area with a woman who appeared to be dead in the back seat. This witness, a former pathologist, insisted the woman was Paul. The discovery of Paul's body shocked the local community, but with limited forensic evidence and no clear suspect, the case quickly went cold. It wasn't until years later, with advancements in DNA technology, that investigators were able to link Kyte to the crime. The murder of Tracy Turner. Just 3 months later, in March 1994, Kyte struck again. This time his victim was 30-year-old Tracy Turner, a deaf sex worker who often solicited customers at motorway service stations. Turner was last seen at Hilton Park Services on the M6 motorway. Her body was discovered the next day near Bidaswell, Leicestershire, about 52 miles from the service station. Like Paul, Turner had been strangled and stripped of her clothing. Initially, police did not connect the two murders, but advances in DNA technology would later prove crucial in linking Kyte to the crimes. Turner's murder was particularly brutal. She had been strangled with such force that her hyoid bone was fractured, a clear sign of manual strangulation. Her body was left in a remote location, similar to Paul's, suggesting that Kyte had a pattern of disposing of his victims in isolated areas to avoid detection. Operation Enigma and Kyte's arrest. The murders of Paul and Turner were part of a broader pattern of violence against sex workers in Britain during the 1980s and 1990s. In response, police launched Operation Enigma, a nationwide investigation into the unsolved murders of over 200 sex workers. This operation eventually led to Kyte's arrest in December 1998. DNA evidence played a pivotal role in Kyte's conviction. Semen found on Tracy Turner's body matched Kyte's DNA profile, with the odds of it belonging to someone else being 1 in 33 billion. Despite initially denying the murders, Kyte later admitted to killing Turner, claiming she had pestered him to finish a meal at a motorway service station. However, he continued to deny involvement in Paul's murder, even though the similarities between the two cases were undeniable. In March 2000, Kyte was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 25 years for the murders of Paul and Turner. His conviction marked a significant victory for Operation Enigma, which continues to influence police investigations into violent crimes. Historical sexual abuse of a young boy. While Kyte's murders shocked the nation, His crimes extended beyond the killings of Paul and Turner. In February 2023, he was convicted of historical sexual offenses against a 9-year-old boy committed in the late 1980s. The abuse, which lasted 5 years, included rape, choking, and physical violence. Kyte lured the boy to his Staffordshire home with the promise of toys, then subjected him to a campaign of terror. After each assault, he gave the boy 50p and threatened to harm his family if he ever spoke out. The victim, now an adult, described the lasting trauma of the abuse, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. In a poignant impact statement, he said, "I grew up feeling scared and vulnerable. I never had the chance to be the person I wanted to be or could have been." Kyte was handed a third life sentence for these crimes, with a minimum term of 10 years and 8 months. This sentence ensures he will remain behind bars for the foreseeable future, providing some measure of justice for his victims. Kyte's personality and motives. Kyte's crimes reveal a deeply disturbed individual with a violent hatred of women and a predatory nature. He described himself as a sexual predator, driven by a desire for power and control. His attacks on sex workers and a young boy highlight his willingness to prey on the vulnerable. Despite his claims of remorse during his early criminal career, Kyte's actions demonstrate a complete lack of empathy for his victims. Psychologists who examined Kyte noted his manipulative nature and ability to blend into society. He was described as a chameleon, capable of presenting a friendly and approachable demeanor while harboring dark, violent tendencies. This duality allowed him to evade suspicion for years, even as his crimes escalated in brutality. The impact on victims and families. The impact of Kyte's crimes on his victims and their families cannot be overstated. Samopal's family was left devastated by her murder, struggling to come to terms with the loss of a young mother whose life was cut short. Tracy Turner's family faced similar pain, compounded by the knowledge that her deafness made her particularly vulnerable to predators like Kyte. The young boy Kyte abused has carried the scars of his trauma into adulthood, battling mental health issues and struggling to trust others. His courage in coming forward decades after the abuse is a testament to his resilience, but it also highlights the long-lasting damage inflicted by Kyte's actions. Kyte's conviction was made possible by advancements in forensic science, particularly DNA profiling. The discovery of his DNA on Tracy Turner's body was a turning point in the investigation, providing irrefutable evidence of his guilt. This case underscores the importance of continued investment in forensic technology, which has become an indispensable tool in solving cold cases and bringing criminals to justice. The case of Alun Kyte serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and the pursuit of justice in the face of unimaginable cruelty. While his crimes will forever remain a dark chapter in history, they also stand as a testament to the strength and determination of those who fought to bring him to justice. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content. Thank you.